Hello out there. I've noticed over the years when I talk to people about fighting zombies, they usually bring up the subject of weapons almost right away. You know, guns, knives, clubs, things like that. And not a lot of people talk about armor, which is the subject of this particular video. Now, I asked myself once, what would be the best body armor to deal with a zombie attack? Well, I started looking into it. You know, you can go back into history and find steel armor, you know, the ancients wore, the plate and the chain armor that the medieval knights wore. You know, you've got the Kevlar and ballistic armor that the military and the police and security wear. And you've got all this stuff that the sports athletes wear, you know, the football and the hockey and whatnot. So I started wondering, and then, you know, that stuff is really meant for human-on-human contact. It's not really, you know, it was never designed for fighting zombies. So I started thinking about what would be a good armor for that. So I started experimenting and started researching. And so I started experimenting with, you know, conventional things like wood and plastic and stuff. And then, you know, a solution hit me that had been staring me in the face the whole time. It stares most people in the face the whole time, to be honest. And that's seat belts, the same ones that are in your car. And that's what I've got on right now. This is seatbelt armor. Now, as opposed to the other stuff, especially when you get into the steel armor, it can be very heavy, it can be very expensive, and if it's not fitted properly, it can be very uncomfortable. And that's not what you want in your armor when you really need it. Then you get into the sports armors again. They don't cover all the things that, you know, I would like covered. So I went away from that one, and then you get into the Kevlar and the ballistic stuff. Again, that stuff can be very expensive too, but really, do you need to protect against bullets? No, probably not. You know, you're fighting zombies, you're not fighting human beings, and when you're talking about zombies, you're really talking about basically mindless killing machines. So again, like I said, I started experimenting and I came up with this. Now, as opposed to the other stuff, you can find this stuff anywhere. You know, auto supply, wrecking yards, you know, some hardware stores even. And as you work with it, you'll find that this stuff tends to be fairly easy to work with too. If you can sew a straight line in a sewing machine, you have all the skill you need to make this stuff. And it's very light. I mean, this suit weighs about 5 pounds. That's it. Compared to other things, this is next to nothing. And it's, you know, it's cheap. This vest cost me about 20 bucks, and that's it. And you can custom fit this to whatever body type you are. That is the absolute best part. Doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, how tall, how short. None of that means squat. You know, you can custom fit this to the body type that you are. So it will fit the way you want. It will protect you the way you want. You know, this will not protect you against human weapons. Let's get that out of the way right away. You know, a bullet, a sharp, you know, spear or a sword will go through this, but it's not designed to protect you against any of that stuff. It's designed specifically for zombies. You know, a human nail cannot get through this easily. It would take a long time to scratch through this. They're simply not sharp enough to do it. Again, a human tooth is not sharp enough to bite through this. If somebody does clamp onto you, you're going to feel that and you can deal with it. It may not be, you know, this may not be perfect, but what it does do is it will give you a good fighting chance, and that's what you want. And when it came time to close it off, you know, as opposed to these conventional, you know, buckles, these things are meant to release quickly. And they're plastic, and that is the biggest problem. You know, you run into a tree, you fall on a rock, somebody hits it too hard, you could break this. And once this is broken, your armor becomes insecure, and that is really not what you want if you're in a battle. So what I did is I went with something a little old school. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but what I've done is I went with the double D rings on this, which means that, you know, you can tie this on, and if somebody does grab one of these tails and starts pulling on it, your armor becomes more and more secure. It gets tighter, which means there's less chance that anybody can get underneath it. And this is ordinary webbing. This is strong stuff, and you can get this at most fabric shops. Most craft stores will carry this stuff too. That's why I like this stuff. Now, a quick word about helmets. Now, you can go to the surplus stores, get yourself, you know, a steel military helmet or a Kevlar one if they've got them. You can go with these steel helmets with the Knights of Old if you can find one or have somebody make it for you. But again, they can be very expensive. Some of them are very heavy. And again, they're designed for human-on-human contact, just like the armor. So is that really necessary? And I decided that it wasn't. So what I did is I went looking around and, again, staring me right in the face, a construction helmet. These things are designed to take a whack on a construction site. They're very light, they're pretty strong, and you can find these anywhere, and they're not very expensive. And again, these are very easily adjustable, just like the Armour. You can crank this up and fit that onto you as you will. And that's what I've got to say about Armour. So go out there and try different things. I did. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time making this. I actually went a little carried away on this one. I lined it and I padded it, so it's a little bulky, but that's my way. It doesn't have to be yours. And if you do try this, by all means, send me pictures of things that you've made. I love it when people take my ideas and run with them in directions that I'm not thinking of. Well, that's all I have for this one. I thank you for watching, and good luck. And remember, this is all free advice from me to you. What you do with it is your business. Thank you.